Hello and welcome to this reaction video. And more than a reaction, this is just me sharing like three, I don't want to say underappreciated or underestimated tracks from games. I just mean like three tracks that whenever people are talking about soundtracks and favorite soundtracks and top soundtracks, these are, or top songs in soundtracks, these aren't like necessarily included in those lists, and I think they should. I think, or at least you shouldn't miss these three tracks, in my opinion, right? These are for sure in my Spotify playlist, and I'm gonna share that playlist here in the comment section, in the description below. I'll share my link for a Spotify playlist that I'm putting together with my top songs, let's say, or favorite songs in soundtracks. So these are three that I never kind of hear people mentioning or talking about when they're talking about their top songs or good songs even. And I think they are like exceptionally good, right? Fantastic tracks. So having said that, let's get into them. Oh, before I get into them, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these are conversations that I'm not listening to or that I don't get. But whenever I go to Reddit, whenever I go to YouTube for a top or best tracks or best soundtracks, I kind of don't see these soundtracks or tracks included there. So having said that, let's get into the music. So my very first one that I'm gonna share is Gris Part 1, and I say it in Spanish, Gris. So this is from the actual Spanish studio from Barcelona, I think. Is it Nomada Studio? I think. Is it here? Uh, and yeah, Nomada Studio. So this is by an artist called Berlinist. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly. Berlinist. I don't know. But this is Greece Part 1. And by the way, before I play this track, this is one of, if not the most beautiful game I've ever played. One of the very top. I talk about this game so much in my other content that I create about video games as an art. And this always comes up to the top. I want to say to my top three. Greece is such a beautiful game, and before I play the song, just so you kind of value or listen to the song with this in mind, is like the video game is about loss, right? We have a character that you see on screen. She's not Gris. Her name is she is an unnamed character. But she goes through a loss, and the whole game is that loss leaves her in a very gray world, very black and white world without color. Hence the name Gris, which means gray. And then throughout the game, as you progress, which it's basically her, you know, her process of overcoming that loss, she adds color to the world. So just a little bit of context of the from the game, so you can have that in mind as you listen to this track. I'm gonna try, just so I don't make this video extremely long, I'm gonna try to not talk a lot and just give my comments at the end. So beautiful. So beautiful. I don't know what instrument is that. So full of emotion. So epic. And one thing that I forgot to mention about the game is that not only she loses the color of her world, she also loses her voice, and that's part in part represented here when you hear her voice, the voice of the song, right? Singing, it feels like a cry, but then, right? And in the game, this is the moment she loses her voice. She loses her voice there. So again, this track just, oh, it's so full of emotion, so full of so many feelings, and it's you can feel the sadness through the music. You can sense that feeling of loss. Again, that voice at the beginning feels like a cry, and but also as it evolves and moves forward, that overcoming sentiment and feeling starts to build up through instrumentation that feels a little bit more hopeful, a little bit more angelical, if you will, and then lands in that conclusion, right, where it's just the piano. It kind of, it's like that spiral in which one goes through loss and then land in reality. And the loss is actually part of reality afterwards. That's kind of my interpretation or my take on the song, but it's nevertheless, it's just a beautiful, amazing song. And again, it's the power of music in video games, right? So if you play this game and you listen to this track, wherever you are and this track plays, you're gonna feel, your brain is gonna go back and take you to that moment when you played that game, and you're gonna feel exactly what you felt in that moment. So this track does that so beautifully. And again, one of my favorite games, one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen, and also one of the most amazing soundtracks I've ever heard. And it's not talked about so much, right? So hopefully you haven't heard this soundtrack. Hopefully this is something new, or the entirety, the game is something new for you. Um, so recommended. I wonder if this soundtrack is in vinyl. I'll get it. So my second one is Celeste, and I'm not really sure if this is not talked about enough. But again, I've, because I do remember the year that it came out. It was it was it was talked about a lot. Not only the game but the soundtrack, and I remember in the Game Awards there was like a live performance, and Lena Rain, which is the composer, performed live there and everything. So, but I don't know. After that, I don't see much of Celeste being talked about, and if it's talked about, it's not this track. Um, it's another track, which is called. I'm not sure. I remember how it's called. Anyways, uh, I'm trying to remember, but I can't. So maybe it's in here in the list. Yeah, I don't. It's here. Resurrections. Yeah, it's most likely that's the one that's gonna be in the list. I'm including First Steps not only because it's beautiful and it's great and it works as a beautiful it's a beautiful theme for the beginning of the game because of its energy, but again, if you've played the game and you know what the game is about, it's also about overcoming. And in this case, it's mental health and overcoming, anxiety and negative things that we think about ourselves and that's my interpretation as I remember it. So the whole thing about Celeste is kind of you're climbing a mountain, and it's basically that mountain of overcoming your own mental health issues, confidence issues, how you are your own enemy, how your anxiety attacks you and you are your own enemy, and that sort of stuff. Again, it's a very personal interpretation also because I go through I have some anxiety problems and some, I don't want to call myself like that I have like mental health issues, but I've gone through phases in my life. So and this game kind of represents that a little bit for me. And First Steps, which is the track for the very first level, it's a beautiful community. How do I say this? It gives the perfect feeling of starting a new adventure, starting a journey, right? It has this very hopeful feeling, and as you're gonna see, I mean, just mentalize yourself that you're starting something from scratch. How are you feeling when you're doing that? You feel hopeful, you feel energized, you feel like we're gonna do this, we feel, happy. Of course, if it's something you want to do, and this track kind of First Steps, like it's really that. So let's hear it, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about. It's a little longer. It has a very video gamey sound too, like old school video game. I want to say it says something new, starting something new. That's what I hear. It's a very sophisticated melody, in my opinion. Now, nice. Now it goes up. It's a different key, I think. Nice. little bit different there. It's kind of the same phrase, but different notes. Again. That piano always playing the background. And now it plays this. Kind of a little solo. Oh no, it's there. Plays all along. Beautiful track. Simple too, but very sophisticated. Now intensity. It's more intense. A little darker. You're starting to face challenge in your new journey. That's like I feel that. How I feel that. Love that ending. And the little piano. It's so beautiful. Such a beautiful track. And I understand why most people talk about Resurrections when they talk about this soundtrack and other tracks also in this soundtrack. Resurrections is just so epic and so great. But I don't know. I have I really love this one too. I don't know if I like it better than Resurrection, but I think this one also deserves a lot. The appreciation, especially as the first track of the game, right? When you're starting, when you're learning, um, as a player, you're starting a journey. As the character, Celeste is starting her journey to climb Mount Celeste. So and the energy and the composition here communicates and gives that feeling like 100%. So again, power of music. I hear that track and I remember how I felt the first time I started playing Celeste, which is a beautiful game. And if you haven't played it, it's such a great game. Also beautiful in terms of art. It has one of the most beautiful pixel arts I've ever seen in my life. So that's that one. And then I have one that of a game that's going on on a turmoil right now. Michael Salvatori, who isn't in Bungie anymore. It's been one of my favorite games for a while that I've lost. They lost me with all the up and downs that they've had, but still the music of this game, again, I don't think it's underestimated or I don't think it's underappreciated, but this is one track also that I don't see when people talk about Destiny. I don't see a lots of people like going to this track, right? Resist the Legions. Here, the composer says, I mean, I've always heard this is by Michael Salvatori. There's a lot of people here listed as the authors of this soundtrack, so I'm not sure who wrote this specific track. I wouldn't say it's Michael Salvatori, but I'm not sure. Anyways, this is a track from Destiny 2, and it's basically from their very first, not even expansion, the breaks game story, which is when the Legion of Cabal is invading, if I remember correctly, Earth. It's been a while, but yeah, the Red Legion is invading. That's the kind of the story, and basically they beat in the very beginning they beat all the oh shoot, the Guardians, right? And you as the Guardian, well, you save the day, you go and fight them and you save the day, and the all the guardians. I can't remember what the guardians are called. But yeah. Anyways, the good guys. As a group. I can't remember how they are called. Anyways, this is a track that's called "Resist the Legion," and it's basically this. I mean, you as a player are fighting against the Legion. I remember specifically fighting against one specific enemy. Um, and um, in like a final boss of one of the activities in the game or in the story. And I remember when I heard that track, it's like I loved going back to that activity just because of that track. When it starts at that final encounter, it's so epic. And again, it kind of communicates exactly what it needs to communicate. Like it's this battle, and it does it in a very peculiar way because I've and this is something that I kind of feel like it's overdone, even overdone, is this very drummy, heavy in drums, big drums to make it sound of every soundtrack. Lots of trailers, for example. You see a movie trailer, if it's a very romantic trailer, it has the big drums, right? I don't know why it's overdone. This track doesn't use any of that. It's just pure gold, in my opinion. And it accomplishes the feeling, right? That feeling, that epicness, that strength. The sound of the Legion in this soundtrack really feels like they are a force. And through the music, that is it's very much communicated. So I'm gonna play it and stop talking. It has this percussion. Staccatos. That little pause there, I love it. Brass. Build up. What a beautiful build up. Now it hits. Very brassy, but this. Oh my god, that's so good. Very brassy, but then the strings. Oh my god. What a beautiful melody too. It's dangerous. Ding, 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 ding. No big drums. I mean, it has percussion, but the typical big drums. Now it has that. And the voices. Not overdone. I love the mix. Now we go to the climax, the ending. Love it. Love it. It again, I not to be a broken record, but I feel when I hear that, I feel the very first time that I encountered that boss and I heard that song, and those feelings that I felt when I was playing for the very first time Destiny 2, which was for me was like a whole experience. Like it again, it was one of my favorite games, especially when I started playing it. It brings back all those feelings, and it actually it gives me it makes me want to go back, install Destiny 2 and start playing again, like create a new guardian and play it again. So that's the power of music. And again, you don't hear the big drums, the typical big drums. It's so sophisticated, and so the mix is so perfect, very brassy, that gives this very epic, very heavy, strong feeling. Talking about the Legion, I mean, I would never looking if you haven't seen the game or if you haven't played the game. The Legion is just as are these, they're called Cabal. It's a race in the universe, and they're big with very heavy armor. Imagine like the guys from Space Marines, like heavy armor, big like that. And and that's brassy sound. It's just the only sound that may fit for them, for the Legion. And then those strings, such a creative and unique response to the melody. Again, if you've seen my videos, that is something that if you've seen my videos of my composition and my writing and music, you're gonna see that to the melody, I always like having a response. That's what I call it. I don't necessarily know if that's technically the term, like the term technical term, but I always I always try to have like a response to the melody. Like I love using pauses in my songs, like space, let it breathe, but use those spaces, either just silence or maybe have a response to the melody. So in this case, it's we have the and strings responding to that main melody. Bum 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 bum. What's the melody? Bum 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 bum. Like that response, that it's not, it's just not necessarily not even a melody. It's just kind of something that accompanies the main melody. I love doing that, and I love it in this track. Maybe that's even one of my influences, and I don't even know it in terms of doing that all the time. So anyways, those are three tracks that I wanted to share. They're definitely part of my list, and I think not enough people talk about them. And I just want to share, um, not the typical thing, right? It's like my Expedition 33 video. Actually, it's not because I just want to be different and be unique. It's just that, you know, and I don't see a lot of people reacting to these tracks, for example, and I think they are worth the the attention, right? Or the awareness, or the recommendation, whatever. If you have your lists of soundtracks, video game soundtracks, I think these are three tracks that not a lot of people talk about, not a lot of people react to, but they're worth being in your list for sure. And I mean, maybe you don't agree, but hopefully you do. Anyways, that's it for now. Hope you liked them. These tracks. Don't remember to go back to my channel and see my own compositions. I've been posting. I just created a new playlist where I just post my music just with me, so without me talking so much. So if you just want to listen to music, you can go there and listen. I vote for now. I only have so far. I only have two tracks. So, but I'm gonna continue uploading every week on new tracks that I worked on. Not only for video games, but things that I've done, or things that I keep doing or whatever. But But that's it. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe, to hit the like button. That really helps and make kind of tells me that you like this kind of content, so I can continue doing it. And don't forget to share with your friends. If you have friends that are interested, or musicians, or interested in video game music, or in learning video game composition, or I don't know, whatever, share with them. And don't forget to comment below. Recommend me tracks, right? Recommend me music that you would like me to react to, or you would like to share, or this same thing, music that you really love and you wish more people, were reacting to and talking about online. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next